Hello, I hope this video finds you well. Tonight is night 7 in my commitment to do one Codingbat solution a night as long as schools are closed down. And whether you're a student of mine or someone who's just out there learning to code, please don't hesitate to send me any questions or comments. Now, I've already gone through this problem in Python, and I'm going to go through the Java solution here. I'm not going to go through quite as long a solution. I'm actually just going to work through it directly using the absolute value function. And that's really the really important takeaway from this, is knowing how to use the absolute value function. All right, so Codingbat Java, Warmup 1, nearHundred. Given an int n, return true if it is within 10 of 100 or 200. Note, math.absolute num computes the absolute value of a number. So near 193 returns true, near 190 returns true, and near 89, near 189 returns false. And so when we read a Java method header, we see it's public boolean nearHundred int n. So really what I'm going to do is I'm going to say math.absolute value. So first thing I want to do is find the difference between n and 100. And the absolute value function becomes really useful in this case because I don't have to check if n is greater than 100 or less than 100 to get the positive difference. I just have to take the absolute value of n minus 100. And I'm going to check if that's less than or equal to 10, and now check that situation for 200, math.abs, n minus 200 is less than or equal to 10. Close that bracket, and I'm going to return true. Otherwise, I'm going to return false. And if I hit go, there we go. Now, we'll just do a couple little cleanup things along the way. First thing is, since this is a single line if statement here, there's only a single line of code inside this condition. I actually don't need the braces. Again, when I'm working with students who are learning to program, I always put my braces in. It's just I find it leads to less problems, but it's a nice thing to be aware of. If you have a single line of code for a conditional structure or a loop structure, braces aren't needed. The second thing is, because this if statement evaluates to true and returns true, and if it evaluates to false, it returns false, I can actually, as opposed to using an if statement, I can just simply return the evaluation of that Boolean expression. And there's that one line of this. Now, let me just take this last minute and talk about something that's good to kind of be aware of as a beginning programmer. And this is something I often say to students when they're learning to code. Notice how we call math.abs n minus 100. Notice how we are calling the absolute value function, or the ABS function, with the name of the class. This means that ABS is a static method. Static or class/class method. Now, this might seem like nothing to you, and if you're a beginning programmer, that's fine, but I really like to kind of drive this point home to students when they're first learning this. And really, if you've done some strings work, if I do something like string str equals happy, and then I do something like string first letter equals str.char at 0. Okay. Sorry, that should be string. Let's put char. There we go. Okay. So you'll notice a difference here, where the absolute function is called with the name of the class versus char@ is called with an instance, an actual string. This, therefore, I know is what's called a static method, and this is what's called an instance method. And I really want to drive this point home. If you just start using the correct vocabulary now in terms of these when you're talking, it means when you actually start getting into class structure and designing classes and objects, you're going to be a step ahead of the game. And with that, I hope you have a lovely evening. Take care.